Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for your interest in Community Shield. My name is Martha Mather. I'm the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Our Lady of Peace and the Kosare Charities Children's Peace Center. I also co-chair the Community Shield. Community Shield's mission is to bring together a diverse group of agencies and institutions to develop a comprehensive, community-wide response to children's exposure to violence using a collective impact model. Community Shield was created 4 years ago as a collective impact project to address the complex issue of children who are exposed to violence in Louisville. While many organizations in the community were doing work around the issue through a variety of entries, such as child abuse, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, and homelessness, the problem demanded a different approach. With this in mind, a consortium of 35 organizations, including the Center for Women and Families, Family and Children's Place, Our Lady of Peace, Volunteers of America, Kentucky Youth Advocates, and Kosare Charities Face It campaign, as well as 7 county services, and many more represented here today, came together to learn about collective impact work and how this approach could be used around the issue of children already exposed to violence. Traditionally, in the social sector, an organization addresses a problem through a theory of change, relying on resources from funders and supported by an evaluation of the impact achieved. The problem is that such predetermined solutions offered by disconnected systems rarely work with complex problems that are pervasive throughout the community. Community Shield's collective impact works differently. The process and result of Community Shield are emergent rather than predetermined. The necessary resources and innovations often already exist but have not been recognized. Learning is continuous and adoption happens simultaneously among many organizations. The power of collective impact lies in the heightened vigilance that comes from multiple organizations looking for resources and innovations through the same lens. Since our strategic planning process in 2014, Community Shield has continued to move forward together to develop a comprehensive and collaborative approach to addressing the unique needs of children exposed to violence in our community. Our strategic initiatives and progress in the last year include a comprehensive communication strategy to promote awareness of the impact of violence at all levels of our community, including professional leadership and a targeted engagement of parents, caregivers, and youth. An education curriculum for youth exposed to violence and a corresponding pilot program for teachers and key leadership in the school community, a data dashboard and evaluation model, including 3 specific data tracking points, and designed for a pilot program to identify children and families in most need of support. Local and state policy recommendations and a commitment to support children exposed to violence. And lastly, a professional development committee which has already engaged the professional community in trainings, established learning communities, and we recently held our 4th annual conference. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Terry Brooks, President and CEO for Kentucky Youth Advocates. Terry, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Martha. Good morning. In our work at Kentucky Youth Advocates, we try to tackle tough and complicated policy issues that affect and afflict kids and families throughout the Commonwealth. And when we do that, I increasingly, I think, am aware of 3 pathways that folks tend to follow. They look at issues like poverty or child abuse that are so massive, so complex, and so daunting, and almost want to throw their hands up. In some ways, you almost hear folks saying, that's just Kentucky being Kentucky. Well, we know that that's not the appropriate response. The second response, which is well-intended but equally dysfunctional, is to try to find the answer, the silver bullet. Sort of, here are 6 magical steps to the solution. And we know that if we're tackling an issue intersected and as complex as child abuse, if we're really looking for that single answer, we're never going to find it. So instead, the metaphor that we increasingly are suggesting is it really an experience I had just Sunday afternoon exemplifies that. I was out by Floyd's Fork with a couple of our grandkids, and they discovered the miracle of tossing a rock in the creek, and what happens, that ripple effect. A ripple effect initially is something we may remember from childhood, tossing that stone into a lake, and yet it's interesting that that has become a really powerful phenomenon, whether it's in astrophysics or social policy change. So when I think about Community Shield, I think about the power of the ripple effect. That's why Mara has been giving you rocks. Now, Linda Engel, my friend, when I gave her a rock, she's like, am I supposed to throw this at somebody? I said, yeah, that's great. We're gonna, if you see somebody committing a violent act, I want you to throw a rock at them, because that's how to deal with this. But seriously, I hope you kind of hold on to that rock, put it on your desk or put it in your purse, and think about that as the power of Community Shield's ripple effect. I mean, you think about this, and Pam has heard, and she probably knows these stats better than me, but the best estimates that we have as basketball season is getting ready to open is that you can't put the number of kids who have been abused and neglected into the Yum Center. I mean, think about that. A standing room only crowd at the Yum Center, and you have kids who don't fit in. Well, if we're seriously going to attack that with partners like Kosare Charities, and one of their board members, David Nicholson, is here this morning, we can't throw our hands up, but we also can't look for that single solution. And you heard already the multiple ways that Community Shield is approaching it, whether that's through professional leadership or education or youth engagement or the power of a single book. Those are ripple effects. Scott Adams has written, you can't predict the end result of any action. The ripple effect has no logical end. Now, I want you to hear that last sentence as a reason to have hope. The ripple effect has no logical end. Wouldn't it be great if Community Shield had no logical end? And at the end of the day, when we thought about Community Shield and Face It and so many other activities in this town, that we really could achieve the goal that Kosare Charities consistently talks about, to end abuse by 2023. Thanks for being here, and thanks to the leadership of Community Shield for really believing in the power of the ripple effect.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Pam Darnell, President and CEO of Family and Children's Place, and we are honored to be a part of Community Shield as well as the Kosare Charities Face It initiative to end child abuse by 2023. So I get the great opportunity to share with you guys today some of the wonderful accomplishments of Community Shield over the past 4 years. I can't believe it's been 4 years. We've done had national speakers come in to our annual conference for 4 years now. So we've had over 400 people attend those annual conferences, and the one just last week has just been phenomenal. Just wonderful national speakers to help train some folks in our community who want to know more about how to mitigate the effects of violence on young children in our community. We've also been training, we've got lots of training that happened with early childhood educators and some of our school staff and school teachers as well, which really led into a wonderful partnership with Carmichael's Kids and A Terrible Thing Happened, the book that we're actually using in the trainings. So we're so glad to have the partnership with Carmichael to really help create that awareness for children and the folks who take care of children using A Terrible Thing Happened. We're looking forward to the next year. We're already working on our annual conference that will come up next year, so we're very excited about that. So please keep your eyes and ears open about next October with a wonderful conference again. We're actually preparing to train more people in schools and looking at other training opportunities so we can continue to use the book and train people in our community. We're all about helping mitigate the effect of violence on children. So these trainings are very helpful with early childhood educators or school personnel to really help them understand how we as a community can do better to not only prevent that violence but help those children who've already been exposed. So what can you guys do? Well, there's a couple of things you can do that's very easy and will only cost you a little bit of time and no money. So you could go to our website, communityshield.org, and check that out. You can go to Facebook and look at it, but like us, and then spread that through your Facebook community. Anyone who has interest can please come to our meetings. We meet the second Friday of every month. Usually that's at Family and Children's Place at 525 Zane Street. We would love to have folks from the community come and join us. And then that's a nice way that you can come and educate yourself on what's happening in the community and how you can get involved in this wonderful effort. The one thing I want to leave us with today is this idea of Community Shield, everybody giving up their own territory, if you will, for the greater good to help children who've been exposed to violence. One of my favorite sayings is a saying by Gandhi, and he said, leadership is not about being powerful. It used to be about power and control, but leadership now is about how to get along with others. And I think of Community Shield as the epitome of wonderful organizations in our community getting along very well to make sure that we keep our focus on how to help kids and families who are impacted by violence. So thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you.